This video is brought to you by Cracks Only. The link is in the video description below to get the latest gear off their website. Whether you play football or you don't, there is something there for everybody. Straight out of LA. Check it out. What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. How are you doing? Oh, look at my camera. That is a disgrace and a cheat. Man. Welcome. Yes, the pre-checks were not done. Fleck being flecked. Move it a little bit more. Yes, there you go. I'm in.
Well, they were a little bit, weren't they? They were a little bit. Then there was a change. Then there was some last minute sort of adjustments. You know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
but I'm in and I'm straight. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. Smash a like down on the channel, man. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Welcome to United View. Welcome to the morning view. The Dan Ashworth fight is well and truly on. We have to battle it out with Newcastle, a big club against another club. I'm not going to be condescending. Flex.
Who's the real United?
Salty.
Who's the real United?
We're going to find out who the real United is, because there's only going to be one outcome in this. There's only going to be one outcome, okay? But we are going to talk about the complexities surrounding the deal to take Dan Ashworth from St. James's Park to Manchester United, because there's been some good reporting. There's been some good stories. Well, I say good stories, but informative stories as to what the situation is. Remember, the video, though, is brought to you by Cracks Only. As you can see there, my guy Alfredo out there in Los Angeles doing big things with his clothing brand and sportswear brand. They have MLS players wearing all of their gear. They have college players, college soccer players wearing their gear as well. Anything from your undergarments to your training wear to your boot grip socks to your boot bags. They have it covered for you, and all of your casual and sportswear, from your hoodies to your tracksuits to your t-shirts just like this, to your beanie hats, your woolly hats, your big puffer jackets, your backpacks. They got it all. They got it all. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below and get involved. Let's have a look who's checking.
Some people are saying that you sound fine to me, but maybe it's worth refreshing. Yeah, you sound normal to me. Okay, technology, you know.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit of a refresh. You take a bit of a refresh.
Yeah, have a bit of a refresh. It's fine. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, as Flex is there. And there's plenty to discuss this morning. To me, his mic sounded okay, but sometimes, you know, gremlins and all that kind of stuff in the system. Were they winding them up? Were they actually winding them up? I don't know. It's possible.
Flex mic's not flexing, but I'm back. Yeah. What are you guys telling me? Do I sound okay? I seem to sound all right to Owen. Maybe I could move this mic a little bit.
Mena says sounded fine to me. Then they're saying so much better. Well, maybe it's a bit of payback from KG.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to do my own checks so that it becomes.
They're saying better now.
Yeah, sounds all right to me. On we go. On we go, Owen. On we go.
On we go. Absolutely. Do you want to talk about Dan Ashworth, Fleck?
Yes, we need to get into it because we've got a fight in our hands.
Absolutely. So this is a big piece comes from The Athletic this morning, coming from quite a few people, actually, to be honest with you, coming from Laurie Whitwell, Mark Critchley and others, saying that Manchester United have identified Dan Ashworth as their first choice candidate to become the sporting director as part of the overhaul of football operations led by incoming minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe. There's quite a few bits here. Ashworth has informed Newcastle United of an approach by United, but club-to-club contact is yet to be made formally. That is anticipated soon, though, and the process is expected to develop quickly. The 52-year-old is interested in the opportunity to be part of the new Ineos-led era. Ashworth's reputation and pedigree has always made him a leading candidate. He has the advantage of an existing relationship with Sir Dave Brailsford from their time working together at the English FA in 2016. The pair have retained a close relationship. Many in the industry share Brailsford's opinion that Ashworth is an ideal fit, considering the scale of the task at Old Trafford, and there is a sense that he has always been tempted by the task of restoring the club to its former glories. The Athletic has been told there is a set compensation fee for Ashworth's exit from Newcastle, which comes with an extended period where he cannot work for a rival club. Ashworth could simply resign, but that prompts gardening leave believed to last up to a year. This is really the crux of the situation here. United, though, want Ashworth to start as soon as possible before the summer window opens, so will negotiate with Newcastle to try and come to a compromise. An earlier introduction at United will cost, of course, more money, which is the same situation as Newcastle had when taking Ashworth from Brighton. Ashworth resigned from Brighton.
Cheats, they did it themselves. Sorry.
Exactly. Ashworth resigned from Brighton in February 2022 and began work at St James's Park 4 months later after the two clubs agreed a fee. Ashworth's start date would have been later had there been no resolution. The test now, almost exactly 2 years on, is the same. How much recompense does one Premier League club want to let an employee start at another? This is not about an exit, as Newcastle will not want to wish to keep Ashworth at the club if he wants to go. So they're not necessarily going to stand in his way. But they believe it's about what it's getting fair. One factor in the equation is that his period at Newcastle has not been entirely smooth behind the scenes, with moments of friction coming from Eddie Howe's already established authority, a blurring of responsibilities, plus managing of the high expectations of the owners in Saudi Arabia's PIF, although Ashworth has strengthened relations with the chairman of Newcastle during a recent trip to Riyadh at the beginning of this year. So always not good behind the scenes as well, Flex. Ineos are expected to argue that Newcastle should not price out Ashworth from a move when the situation is not perfect anyway.
Go on,
and it is better for them to receive a settlement that could assist on financial fair play regulations rather than keep paying him to do nothing during his gardening leave. But Newcastle may dig in, feeling that if Brailsford rates Ashworth so highly, United should pay for him. Sources describe the potential asking price as, quote, very high. Yes. Manchester United are prepared to wait beyond the summer if necessary, but there is an openness on both sides to find an agreement, which could arrive in the coming days. Negotiations with Newcastle over an exit will now start, but Ineos have made clear they are prepared to pay and want Ashworth in place for the summer window. So again, there is a lot there, but I guess the point being is that we're in heavy, negotiation. We're in heavy compensation talks. I mentioned this yesterday. Before the reporting came out, suggesting that actually he would be allowed to go if they paid more. This whole 12-month gardening leave, I think it's kind of BS in the sense of, look, it's written into his contract and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it does exist, and I'm sure it's a bargaining chip for Newcastle to use. But at the same time, I think, as they mentioned there in that article, all parties realize Dan Ashworth wants to move. Newcastle want to make sure not only do they get adequate compensation, they want to save face. They don't want to be pushed over where they themselves are trying to portray themselves as a big emerging club with, big owners, very rich and wealthy owners. But Man United, they're being smart too, because they're saying, we know you've got all this money, but we also know from an FFP and PSR point of view, you're struggling right now. And if we give you enough money, it all counts. It all goes to the same pot. It's all revenue that you can then use to help get yourself out of this FFP conundrum that you find yourselves in. So I'm pretty confident this one's going to happen. I'm pretty confident there's not going to be a 12-month, notice period or gardening leave or whatever. As they say, why would you pay this guy for 12 months to do nothing and then bring someone else in when you're struggling when it comes to FFP anyway? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think United will pay up. I think it will be quick. I think Flex will be done next week.
Yeah, the posturing begins. That they can't just be seen to just let Dan Ashworth go without a fight, and a high level business with big sums of money for big figures at football clubs. There's a process and there's a level of posturing and sort of acting like you're not going to do a deal when really you are and stuff like that. And there's a level of Man United sort of, pushing back and saying, well, we're prepared to wait then. All of that kind of posturing. I agree with you, Owen. I think this is going to move quickly. I think Newcastle will be smart about it. They have got FFP issues. They kind of need the money. Man United have right to drop that one on them. But obviously, Newcastle are also smart as well. I'm going to say, well, you want to rebuild your football club, you want him that much, you pay. But Newcastle have been through, like you just showed us there, Newcastle have been through this exact situation a couple of years ago with trying to get him out of Brighton. And they would have had to do a similar deal. And Newcastle will know how desperate Man United are to get this done. So that could be reflected in their compensation. But also, there's a guy who doesn't want to be there anymore. And you know, and the Saudi setup there will probably say, okay, no problem, we'll go and get someone else, and they can't have as much as, you know, they don't want him to go to another top club and, you know, to one of their I say rivals, but you know, they're aspiring to be in the mix, aren't they, with us? So you have to say that. As much as they don't want someone to go there, they'll say, well, he doesn't want to be here, and it's just not going to help us, is it? So, and United will get Dan Ashworth. We will get Dan Ashworth, and I agree. What did you say by the end of next week? Did you say?
Yeah, I think at some point next week, I think we're probably going to be looking at, like I said, I think the notion that there is a reality where Dan Ashworth is sitting on the sidelines for 12 months, I just don't see that happening, because it doesn't benefit any party. It doesn't benefit Newcastle, because if he's on gardening leave, they still have to pay him and bring someone else in. It doesn't benefit Man United, because Man United don't have the guy in the position. It doesn't benefit Dan Ashworth in the sense of he wants to work. Yes, he would be paid to sit around and do nothing, which I guess is great, but he would want to work. And possibly, if that is the case, he might lose out on that job at United anyway, because we need someone in position before the start of the summer. So I don't see that as a situation that happens. I think that if the reporting is accurate, and it would appear that certainly it has been over the last 24, 48 hours or so, United haven't really even looked at anyone else for this position.
No,
they've had maybe some sort of thoughts here and there, but this is the guy that they want. And when it comes to the structure and the best-in-class kind of organization that they're trying to put together, seemingly they see him as an integral part of that, and they'll be willing to pay what it costs. It's funny how these things work as well, isn't it? Because in the grand scheme of things, you know, they're saying compensation fee. Initially, they were saying 6 million. It could be up to 12 million. If that was a football player, we'd go to steal. 12 million to steal for him. But when it comes to an executive, that's a lot of money, isn't it? 12 million pounds. But if he's that critical to the future and the success of Manchester United, what's 12 million? I know that.
Well, this is what I was going to say, mate. We are making the biggest signings post Fergie right now. Let's not get that twisted. Like, rivals can laugh at us and say, "Oh, they think they're back" and all of that, and even some of our own fans can be like, "Oh, slow down a little bit," you know. And absolutely, you can't just say that these signings will any signing or change that you make, whether it's a transfer, whether it's massive overhaul like this, like, you don't know, like, you have to wait. But in terms of the importance and the significance of getting these people in, if the forecast is right with how good they are at their jobs, these are bigger than any players we've brought to the club in the last 10 years. Let's not mix that up. We are doing what should have been done right in the very early embers of Sir Alex Ferguson leaving the club. This should have been done even when he was here. But obviously football was different then. But with the emergence of how new clubs are run, and it's ironic, isn't it? Because we're talking about Man United sort of being like Old Trafford, being like outdated and old-fashioned, and we need a new stadium. It's the same with the structure of the club. It's old. Like, football clubs don't even run like that anymore. Like, Dan Ashworth at the beginning of his journey, the technical director / sporting director wasn't even really a thing in English football. And English football to do it. He's one of the first to do it. And he looked at, you know, when he's gone into England, he's looked at how Germany had success in Spain and drawn from other countries' experiences to upgrade our own game. And we can laugh at Gareth Southgate, and I know your feelings on Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, no,
but I think it's the England under what did we win with James Trafford? Under 23s won, didn't they?
Yeah, well, he implemented he brought back the under 15s team as well. He
put
under 18s. Yeah, under 18s, under 15s.
You know, and those teams have won. I think the under 18s have won. And then you look at the infrastructure that's gone up to the under 23s up until, I think just this summer. England won. That was the Euros, wasn't it? The under 23s.
Well, to the point that they're even saying, I think Lee Carsley, who's the manager, they're going, we could replace Gareth Southgate or whatever because of the job that he's done. It's crazy, isn't it? But I mean, Jake Harrison says this in the chat, and it's so true. For all of the talk about compensation, he'll probably save us 6 million on his first day. If he's as good as people say he is at transfer negotiations and what have you, then, you know, if it takes, he could take 6 million, 12 million off a transfer fee. And you go, wow, you paid for yourself then already, haven't you? 100%. And even if he didn't do that, if Manchester United are just successful on the pitch, then like any transfer, we always say this, transfer fees become irrelevant when they're success. Look at
Exactly.
someone like Declan Rice. Nobody is saying at the moment Arsenal overpaid for Declan
They're
Rice.
saying it's not. They're saying it's not enough, which is
Nobody is
insane.
saying that. It was the same with Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk came in at Liverpool, record fee for a defender. Oh my God, outraged. Very quickly it became, it was good business. It'll be the same for this. High compensation fee. If he comes in, Manchester United start operating around the transfer market. And again, he's not the be-all and end-all of it. He oversees recruitment. And as they said yesterday, he negotiates and closes deals. But if United just get a fraction better in the transfer market and be able to sell players and not have people on as high wages, you go, pay for itself already.
They pay different. And I'll tell you what, Owen, as well, let's be real, right? It is a bit different with players because we see them front of house every week and look for goals and assists. When it comes to like sporting directors and guys in the back, let's be real. I don't care what it costs to get him. Just get him. Like you've not even had this department before, so you haven't even had this outlay. So just spend what it is that you need to spend, make it available, and go and get Dan Ashworth. It's that simple. Like, and I don't envisage it being a situation like what you're saying where these are deal breakers. You know, he's now not going to come because we can't afford him. The fee's too high. They will, so Jim Ratcliffe has shown big intent. That Omar Barada thing has shown me everything I need to know. I'm still not really over that. I'm still like the way it just happened and how big and like, he's higher than Dan Ashworth. He's going to be head honcho. Like that is our new guy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that, it's insane how we got him out of City.
And as I said, actually, there's a bit of news from
breaking
Romano.
news.
Breaking. I need a button on the soundboard that says like breaking news. I need to record it or something like that. I'll do that later on. Fabrizio Romano has tweeted saying Dan Ashworth has already said yes to Manchester United. He's prepared to accept their proposal, and it's considered a big opportunity and project. I understand Man United are intention to negotiate and pay compensation to Newcastle. They absolutely want Ashworth now, not in 2025. So it's basically what we were just really saying, isn't it? Saying that he wants to leave. He's ready to say yes. United are willing to give Newcastle what they want. So Newcastle, I suppose, to an extent, can kind of name their price to a degree. And they want him in now. Not by 2025, not to have that gardening leave and what have you. So that is the latest when it comes from Romano as well. I was saying this yesterday, Flex, as well. I don't know what you think about it, but one of the biggest tasks he's going to have when he comes in, and they're saying he is going to be overseeing recruitment, is when we walk into a room to negotiate, like in FIFA, right? You get into that weird room and there's the table, you sit down with the person, and we say, pick a player, hypothetically, any player it could be. And they say, we want this player. Let's say it's Elise. We want Elise. And Crystal Palace go, we know you Man United. We know that your recruitment's rubbish. We know you've got a lot of money. We know that this player is valued at £50 million, but we're charging you 75. And Man United go, that's ridiculous. We would never pay that. And then we end up paying 70. And it's ridiculous. The biggest challenge that he is going to have, Dan Ashworth, I think, is changing that perception. It's changing that perception that when we do walk into a room and say, we want Elise, and Crystal Palace say, okay, you're going to have to give us all this money, that we have the ability to say, no, this is our price. Yeah. And bear in mind, we can walk away because we've got 3 or 4 other people we've already scouted and we're ready to go. I'll give myself a thumbs up right there. But, we've got these people lined up. We've got these people ready that if you mess us around, we'll go somewhere else and we'll get someone for the price that we're willing to get. And that perception is going to be very difficult to change. And if he's able to change that, and I think the way to change that,
that's the biggest thing we've got to change.
I think the way to change that does come by actually having that kind of due diligence, having that kind of preparation, that a bit like Manchester City, when they go after Paqueta in the summer, it doesn't work out, they'll just go get someone else. Immediately, we've already got 3 or 4 people lined up. Boom. It's done. It's that quickly. It's that done. And I think that is going to be his biggest thing. If he can fix that, and I think United are on to win it, because then that's how you reduce your spending, because you've already got option or plan A, B, C, all the way down to Z. And you know which ones you can go for, how much they're going to cost. You want to go for your top target, obviously, but then you put the onus onto the club you're negotiating with, going, you don't want to block this move because you're going to have an unhappy player, and then maybe you don't get the money you're even looking for at all. So,
and you have other targets locked and loaded, and then they literally see you've gone and got a different right winger. It wasn't Elise.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Just other kids out of Lons.
That's what I mean. They go. They go. So when they are negotiating with an Elise, they go. If you're messing us around, we'll go get this guy from Lons. Like we've already done the due diligence. So We're in control here. You're not going to overcharge us. And also, when you do bring in an Elise, we're just using this as an example, but an Elise, you go, how much do you want at Crystal Palace? Oh, I'm on, I know, 100K. How much she's on at Palace? You go, we're going to give you 150. That's it. Yeah. We're not going 300. We're not going 250. We're not going 275. Just
you're
randomly.
A bright young prospect that still has gears to go up, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So if in 2 years it doesn't work out, it's not going to be difficult to get rid of you. So you've got to come in. You've got to make it work.
I think we can never. I personally think, and I could be jumping the gun, but I'm going to look into it a bit deeper because I think it is a pattern. I think we're starting to see us unpick the contract situations. I believe because you look, everybody wants things to be done on our terms, right? And everybody wants things to be done quickly. But if you think about it, you've still got the sins of the past, like we all speak about on this channel, right? So the Maguire situation, he was in control of that. He said no. Scott McTominay, he was in control of that. He said no. Martial, stock had fallen, injuries, no one even came in. And he said no when it got to January. Casemiro got 3 years left on his deal. The Saudi thing might come. No one else, like those types of players are in control. The things that we've been in control with, we've made the right decision on every single one this season, I'm going to say. Like, forget the Harry Maguire thing, and and that's actually worked out because he's got his head down, and when we've needed him, he's been fantastic.
Post summer window,
post summer, post summer, because that's where the sort of Jim Ratcliffe effect was. It's let's be honest, it's starting. When did it get confirmed? Got confirmed in October, didn't it? So really, I remember I was in Jamaica.
Yeah.
It was all
Jake
preferred
Jackson
bidder.
dropped out. Yeah.
So really, and that was just preferred bidder, really. So if we're honest, it was probably December. That it was like it's
sort
him.
of like November,
December
time. It was like it's him. Final details being worked out.
When was the announcement? When was the announcement that it was him?
The announcement was obviously Christmas Eve. That was when they said Christmas Eve. That was then. And even since then, and that's a short period of time. That's what, 2 months. A lot's happened in 2 months.
So that's what I'm saying. So it feels like a lot longer than it is, but actually, it was only it's so good to say. It was only literally a couple of months ago that the official announcement was made. So since then, what have we done? Well, it's got to the January window, and other players have approached the January window with contracts needing either decisions to be made or action to be made. We extended Victor Lindelof and put an extra year and preserve somewhat of some form of value. We've extended Wan-Bissaka and rightly so to get some form of value. We extended Hannibal and basically tried to sell him to Sevilla with first dibs on this, that, and the other. It has gone a bit south.
It's not working out at the moment,
It's not working out. But again, Man United have done everything they need to do from a business side of view.
They cover themselves in that.
Yeah, once the player goes, you have to just give yourself insurance. And once the player goes, it's always going to be down to how the player performs, whether the team wants to buy him. That's on the player. The Jadon Sancho situation, it was a mess, but they've got a solution to that. Send him out on loan. They got that done very quickly. Pellistri, he's gone on loan. I think he's got a little bit of value there still. Alvaro Fernandez, they've got first dibs on him, but made him go permanently. We can say, why did we do that? That looked a bit silly. We liked him, etc., etc. But the decision's been made and we've protected ourselves. Donny van der Beek has gone, option to buy, protected ourselves. Martial, not extended. See you later in the summer. What massive chunk off the wage bill. Summer, you're saying there's going to be a resolution to Jadon Sancho. He's going to go. Varane didn't extend, saying, listen, love you, Rafa. And actually, you're integral now. Eric, look, he's still playing all the games when he's fit. He's integral. But even though you're integral, we're not just going to buckle and offer you a new deal at better rates or trigger an extension at this same rate where we have to pay you this for a minimum of another year. We're not doing that anymore. If that means we have to lose quality, then we'll find a way because that's not how we're going to do things. Casemiro is a bit different, like I said, because he's got years left. But we all can see that the general consensus is that if offers come in the summer that are sizable for Casemiro, i.e. Saudi, they're going to say yes. Man United will say yes. They will. What else have we secured? Kobbie Mainoo's probably going to get a new deal, so that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
So
well, there's already, and even like I said, that's with contracts. There's already been meetings about the stadium, with local government. There's already been discussions about the stadium as well. Things, and also, Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford have already met with employees at Carrington and at Old Trafford, sitting them down, going, "How do you measure success?" We measure success in terms of winning trophies. And first of all, just hearing hearing someone that has a part in the club or an ownership stake in the club talking to people that's foreign. But then saying that we measure success by winning trophies, even that's like, wow. So things have moved very, very quickly. And to be fair, I expect this kind of pace. And I mentioned this yesterday when it came to all this Ashworth stuff. The moment that we started hearing credible stuff from the journalists, my initial reaction was, this is going to move way quicker than we're used to. And the reason why I say that is because the point of reference is Omar Barada. That happened so fast. And I don't think things are going to happen as fast always with like they did with Barada, where it's literally like Ornstein tweeted, "We've got him." And it was like, what is going on there? But this kind of pace where it's like links, talks, done. It's a week. Done. That kind of speed. And my hope is that that's not just an executive thing. That's also a transfer thing in the summer. My hope is it's like on the Monday, we're linked with a player. On the Thursday or Friday, it's talks are happening, and then on the next week, it's like you get here we go from Romano. Maybe to dot the I's, cross the T's, it's a little bit longer than that, but it's that kind of quickness. That's what we need, and I'm happy this is happening now because look, we've got a massive summer coming up. This can't. But this
is why in January I was always saying, don't care about bringing in players. Let's be real, we don't have the money to do it, and two, we shouldn't really. Unless it was like an emergency loan just to the end of the season where you can get rid of the player, which we've seen that the level of quality that's available then is not always the one. Yeah, if you look at Timo Werner, we could have done that, a loan with an option to buy maybe to the end of the season just to bolster our squad a little bit. But it wasn't the be-all and end-all. We got one game a week. We're in two competitions, the Premier League and the FA Cup. We had players coming back. Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Because I'll tell you what, we should not be signing anybody right now under this regime. This regime's done. This regime's finished. John Murtough shouldn't be across any deals signing off or ratifying any, money out of the kitty for next year. Everything should be done by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. And that should be, we're not doing anything, which is what we've seen. And so that when we get to the summer, we've got everything in place. Now, what they will have to do, of course, is plan for the summer in terms of identify players from now. This is why we're seeing the Elise things. We've seen sort of Mark Gahey stuff. We've seen sort of Pedro Neto. We've seen, we've been linked. We've seen João Neves. There's always links in the lead up to the summer. Matthias de Ligt has been one that's been mentioned as well. Tadebo's obviously never going to go away properly. So they have to have their targets done. And that's what I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos, with Sir Dave Brailsford, with Omar Barada a little bit. I don't know. I mean, Sir Jim how do you think it works? Sir Jim couldn't get in post officially until kind of now times, but decisions.
They're doing stuff, Flex.
They've got to be ringing him on the normal, saying, "Listen, we're thinking about getting this player." I mean, he can't. There's loopholes and ways round of doing things. He's not in Carrington in his office where you can go, right, I'm just going to pop up to Omar's office and sit down and have a chat. No. He's been employed by us, and we know it's happening. So there's no way he's sitting there
of course
doing nothing. That planning for the summer to ascertain who we actually want to go for needs to be happening now. And that's basically what is happening now. And that's why I'm glad in January we had a quiet January. And really, the real sign is what we're doing is this. And the bar's been so low. We're like, oh my God, new CEO, new director of football. And straight after new director of football, like we said, there's going to be people that Dan Ashworth's going to be bringing in, and we're going to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I remember I was really, every time a link came up in January to whoever player it was, and you sound like a real sort of downer on the situation, you're being negative, but you had to kind of sort of think, we're not getting anyone. This is why we're not getting anyone. Well, not only can we not afford it, it doesn't make sense. Because like you said, the plan has already begun for the summer and the summer after. Just quickly, so people can see it. This was the Romano tweet that went up just a few minutes ago, saying Dan Ashworth has already said yes to Manchester United. He's prepared to accept their proposal as it's considered a big opportunity and project. Understand Man United our intention to negotiate and pay compensation to Newcastle. They absolutely want Ashworth now, not in 2025. So once again, the intention is to negotiate, pay the compensation that Newcastle want, and get Dan Ashworth in post as soon as possible. It might not even be a situation a bit like Omar Barada, who is on gardening leave until the summer. For Dan Ashworth, it might be a case of he's in place. Like it's not even, he might begin work, So watch this space, certainly.
Yeah, it's just Danny says, does this membership, been a member for 1 month, by the way, big up to you, it's just Danny, says, does this membership get me shares in Nubian's business? Big up to you both. Owen, my guy, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Goatee, Mr. Organized, love the community. They are good words to describe you right now. Mr. Goatee, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Organized. You can put a tick next to all of them things. I definitely agree with that.
Well,
Goatee's looking all right, Owen. Just realised, actually.
Well,
yeah,
Flex,
mate.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it. I've been growing this out for the last 9 months, and it's starting to come in. You know what the worst thing is? I say worst thing is,
mate. I just shape up on there as
well. My facial hair, it's actually quite sort of ginger. I have quite ginger facial hair.
Like Seamus.
I don't know why. It just, but then I've got quite fair skin. You know.
Yeah.
Look, because I don't.
Yeah. Wait, your hair's brown.
My hair's brown, but my facial hair is ginger.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm a bit like a traffic light.
Yeah. Oh, mine's like a zebra, mate. I've got grey and black in there. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean, this is what it is. On United View, we always embrace who we are and what we are.
One day, hopefully one day, Flex, I'll be able to use KG's beard surgeon products. One day.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe you can.
This doesn't.
But yours won't grow. If you leave it, is that clean shaven there? It just doesn't.
It just doesn't grow here. It doesn't grow here.
Yeah.
It
So all you can do is
it grows here. Here it just doesn't.
It's weird, that, isn't it? There's these new little. I'll send you this thing on Instagram. There's these new like fake beards you can get that you can attach yourself. They look really good.
Flex, I'm not doing that. Flex, I'm not doing that. Okay.
Why? You just you might want to try it.
Disgrace. That's what it is. A disgrace. It's embarrassing.
Oh, a little beard weave. You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine? Ugh. Imagine I just showed up one day, morning show, massive beard. It just came in overnight.
I'd be like, what is that? You're like, what do you mean? It's a beard, mate.
That's a great
yeah, Tabarez says, I'm here to summon Nubian Pharaoh. Nubian Pharaoh does not get summoned. Nubian Pharaoh speaks when he wants to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He is the Pharaoh.
And we listen.
Unfortunately, and we listen. Yeah, Tabarez, we don't get to decide when Nubian Pharaoh enters the room. Just that when he does, we all stand up to attention. That's it. There's no other situation. Yeah, if he comes into the room when he wants to come into the room. It's as simple as that. If he's here, he's here. If he's not, he's not. What I will say is, though, we're at 1,300 people watching half an hour into the show, which is really good. Really busy show. Loads of people getting involved. And you know what that's going to lead on to? The likes. Yeah. The likes. You know, we 250 straight away should be in the bag with 1,300 people on the dot watching live. But I'm going to set the 500 marker right now. We've got 1,300 people watching. There's absolutely no reason why we can't have 500 likes. Easy. And let's get the subscribers up as well. I'm pretty sure out of that 1,300 people that are watching, I know that a load of you will be loyal returnees to United View, but there's going to be a good chunk of people that are seeing us for the first ever time on their devices. Do you know what I mean? And if that's you, welcome to the community, welcome to the family, and please stay forever.
Or maybe not. Or maybe not. There might be some people that go, you know what, I watch every day. I don't click subscribe. Some people you have to win them over. Flex. I've been there. I've watched channels all the time, and I'll go, not yet. Not yet. I'm in the sort of trial phase. You know, I mean, I'm feeling it out. We're just sort of seeing how we feel together. You know, Valentine's Day's come and gone. Is this a real thing, or is this just a passing fling? United View and I, and eventually, you know, you got to take the plunge. Yeah, jump in with both feet. Click subscribe.
Exactly. And big up to DJ as well in the chat, talking to everybody. I see everyone having a good old chat in there about who the next sort of guy after Dan Ashworth's going to be. People talking about Sam Jewell, Kristen is. Lil Yo-Yo says Paul Mitchell ain't coming. DJ says Sam Jewell is a good shout. Michael says Flex, I love you, man. Big up to you. Thanks for the love. Adam Edwards says Pepper spent over 1 billion by himself. So yes, I agree. Don't compare. Splashnet is in there. Joe Blackman's in there as usual. The community's communitying, man. This is what I love. Who else is in there? Who else we got? Dwayne Rogers. Big up to you, bro. Kristen as usual. M.A. Sin Games, produced by Palmeiras. Jason Ramon. Perkins. It's just Danny. Min is in the chat as well. Tabares is always here. I haven't seen Tabislo and Steffi, but I know they're there somewhere. They're always there. And obviously Lil Yo-Yo's there. Aslan's there. Nessie's there. Look at the community. Descendant of the first crackhead is there. Mr. Tonmoy Haroon is in there. Mark O'Donnell, Edgar Samuel, Keegan. I haven't seen Keegan for a bit. Simon McGill. They're all there. Look, this is the community. So if you are thinking, of joining the community, there's your proof. Star-Lord is there. So I'm saying.
Well, I see sometimes in the chat, we'll be talking here, and sometimes the chat will have their own conversation, which I sometimes enjoy. It's not about commenting what's going on the show. Sometimes I just know, let's have a back and forth.
Witterbird. Yes, Vicky, I'm here. I'm just working. Big up to you as well. I haven't seen you in the chat in a little while. And that's another thing. Sometimes you think just because people aren't in the comments, they're not watching, but they're there. They're watching. Big up to you, Vicky. Hope you're having a good morning. Hope you're enjoying your work, man. And Marcus Jackson says, got my missus listening. She is loving it too. Up the view, Marcos and Leanne. Big up to Marcos and Leanne. And Leanne, welcome. Glad that you're loving it. And I know your other half's got you listening to our voices. Hopefully, we're not distracting you from your morning, and you can get on with what you need to get onto in the background as well. So big up any new listeners. If you are new listeners, let us know. We'll give you a shout out and welcome to the community as well. Oh, and I just wanted to because obviously this morning is mainly about Dan Ashworth and Sir Jim and all this stuff. I just wanted to reiterate one more time about
we're back. I know what you're going to say. We're back. Yes, we're going to win everything. Champions League, Premier League. It's all going to happen. Manchester United are back. Bow down. We have returneth. The sleeping giant hasn't woken. That's what you're going to say, Flex, right?
Weren't going to say that.
Okay.
There was two things though that I wanted to talk about. I ain't going to lie to you. To the rivals. So yesterday I was in at 5. And not even just the rivals, just other United fans.
Oh, you're getting saltiness.
No. So I'm doing a podcast with Joey Knights. Big up Joey Knights. Doing really well. Really like Joey. Great boxer as well. Check out his channel. Big up Joey. At Young'un. I don't know, obviously, Owen, the music-wise, I'm not really sure if you'd know who Young'un is. But
is he age-wise? Is he
this
young?
era young? Yeah, not
He's
like
young.
yeah.
He's young.
I'm always young, and I don't know. I'm guessing here. Sorry if you're watching, bro. I don't want to say you're too old. But
that's his name.
Yeah,
Young.
but like he can still be called like Lil Wayne, and Lil Wayne's like over 40 now, probably. So
yeah, but that's more size, isn't it? That's more size as opposed to age.
But if he's not going to change his name to Oldham as soon as he gets past a certain age. He's just
it's a football club, isn't it? Oldham. So
can't even remember the point I was trying to make.
We're back. That's what you're going to say. Saltiness.
Right. So around other people. Can I open up to the community? Yeah. Around other people, like when I'm talking to people who just don't like Man United, I'm saying mad stuff. I will let you know that.
No, I don't like that.
Oh, I do it a lot. I do it all the time. I don't always go on podcasts and say it out loud so it gets clipped up. But I'm talking about in personal conversations when someone tries to come for Man United. I do say mad stuff. So to Young'un, he's a massive Liverpool fan. And I was talking to him yesterday. I was like, bro, you don't even know what we're on. The signings that we've made, like, we've got Ineos now, bro. Like, we're moving like a big club. You're going to fall to shit. Klopp's going to leave. You think Xabi Alonso's all this, that, and the other. Watch what we're doing. We're coming back. We're going to get Dan Ashworth. I big it up. I saw Harry Pinero yesterday. He was leaving the studio just as I was going in. And you know what Harry's like? He says loads of mad things. So when you're around him, sometimes it's quite infectious. I said, Harry, we're back. I said, Harry, we're back. We're back as a big football club. And he said, well, Flex, we're winning the league next year. That's what he said. But yeah, I also though brought him around to my way of thinking with this Arsenal thing as well, by the way, because that's really pissed me off, that KG Arsenal thing. And I was listening to KG's channel yesterday, and I was so annoyed I couldn't take the call because I was on a train and the reception was bad and the carriage was full. I hate being that guy of being on the train. I hate being on the phone. I never
answer the phone. You've called me when I'm on the train before. I don't answer.
I hate it. I actually do hate it. Some people can do it fine. I just think people are nosy.
Everyone's
and
listening.
I've heard other people do it. Yeah, I'm just on blast. I don't like doing it. But anyway, Wajid was calling in and all the other guys were calling to KG's channel. They're like, no, Arsenal absolutely can't because we're going to have to give them a guard of honor at Old Trafford. And I hope KG's watching now and he's going to be live after this because maybe I will call him after that.
10:30 is live.
Because I tell you what I was hearing on there is absolute disgraceful. And back to Harry Pinero, he was like, I just know too many Arsenal fans and this, that, and the other. And, you know, and I'm like, disgrace. Anyone who wants Liverpool or City to win the league because you know too many Arsenal fans on a personal, you're not putting the club first and you're selfish and you're a disgrace.
I agree. I was when you were filming that Flex and KG, well, you were live, weren't you? When you were doing that, I was backstage doing some bits and pieces, and usually because if Flex goes, oh, how many titles has someone's won? I can look it up and I can go, oh, it's this many, whatever. I was typing away like a madman in that private chat, Flex, going,
yeah, same.
KG, you're a disgrace. You're terrible because. I get it, right? I understand in the sense of everyone's got their personal story. Everyone's got their personal experience of when I grew up, I was surrounded by this group of fans. Or when I grew up in this location. So I was surrounded by this group of fans. But that doesn't really matter when it comes to the football club. The football club's rivals are the local rivals or the historic rivals. And the Arsenal rivalry is one based in the late 90s, early 2000s, really, with the Wenger-Ferguson. That's kind of the real meat of it. And also this idea that, well, Manchester City, they've never really done anything until recently. Well, that's not even really true, is it? Because in the 70s, they relegated us. So even that, it's like, well, no, it's just this generation that goes, Manchester City have never done anything because we didn't have any point of reference. People that were around during that period of time will go, well, no, it's not necessarily actually the case, to be honest with you. Like the rivals for Man United are, and I'm not in no particular order, but Liverpool, City, Leeds.
And Liverpool is
that's what it is.
Liverpool,
that's what it is. And for me, like where I grew up, no, there weren't any Man City fans. I don't know any. I don't. But I don't want Arsenal to win. And I know Arsenal fans growing up, but I would still rather have Arsenal win the league than City beat our record because they'll be 4 in a row, wouldn't it be 4 consecutive? And if they did a treble again, for my goodness, if it's Liverpool, they get closer to usurping our Premier or our top division title record as well. Arsenal, to be honest, as much as they're loud and they're brash, and like we know people, let's say from AFTV, I could really give a shit what Arsenal do because it doesn't really affect me and the rivalry that much as City or Liverpool doing it. For instance, like, do you think Arsenal fans, right, are like, oh, I'd rather have Tottenham win the title than Man United because the United fans will be loud? Of course not. They'll be like,
exactly.
You seriously?
Exactly.
And
then what people do,
you have to park your personal story and personal experiences to one side and think, what happens with the club?
Another thing that annoys me is this 115 charges. Oh, we just shouldn't. It doesn't matter. They got 115 charges,
but still
haven't been proved. Exactly, that haven't been proved yet, and they'll probably just get out of it. Like they're still dominating.
Flex, even if
they're dominating the thing. Wake up and smell the coffee. We don't. What I'm saying is, and I said this to KG about the Liverpool Everton thing. Everton have been shit for years, right? They haven't won anything, right? And do you think that if they came to the party and was going to win a title, that Liverpool fans would go, well, it doesn't matter. We've got 19, so they can have one, or I know they've probably won more than that in their history, but let's just say a Premier League, right? Liverpool only got one Premier League, but you get my gist, yeah. Liverpool fans wouldn't go, yeah, but Everton have been crap. Or the thing that's used with City is, sometimes they weren't even in the same league as us. They were in the second division. They were in the third division at times. They were way off it, or there was always like mid-table or getting relegated from the Prem, or whatever you want to call it, yeah? But there comes a point whereby the person in your city, you can't just wish them well. You can't just not care if they're winning everything over you. Like, I don't get it.
And like I also said, when it comes to the whole 115 charges thing, like I'm of the mindset that something will stick to them. There's just so many chances, and I think the evidence, the only thing that they can hope for is a bit like with the UEFA one, is that it happened so long ago, that statute of limitations or whatever, which I don't think there are when it comes to the Premier League thing. But I don't think they'll get away with it. But if we're using that as an out in terms of we go, yeah, but they cheated, so when they get done, it will never have happened. It still happened. An example is Marseille with the Champions League. Marseille won the Champions League. They were stripped of the Champions League because of the French bribery scandal. If you go to Marseille today and go, you never won the Champions League, they'll say, well, I was there and I saw it happen. It might not be on the record or anything like that, but we lived it. So we can sit better and go, wow, it never really happened, but it did. It did happen. Even if it gets stripped and taken away from them, it did. And I'd rather it just not happen in the first place. If it means that Arsenal fans are a bit loud, they win the title and then they don't do it again for several years, and then they talk about that instead of talking about the Invincibles, whatever, who cares? But I certainly will care if it's Manchester City, or I will care if it's Liverpool as well. Can you imagine with like Klopp's last season? I remember when Liverpool were going for the quadruple, and there was like a slither in time which we thought, oh my God, this is going to happen here. Oh my goodness me.
Sick to your stomach.
Terrified of that. It just, and again, that's personal experience or personal whatever aside. It's like, no, Arsenal can win it, whatever, no problem.
Yeah. And listen, there's a poll in the chat. There is a poll in the chat, and someone said to me, "Flex, that's your opinion. I do not want Arsenal to win the league." Fair enough, absolutely. It's not about, like KG did say, it's your opinion. I can't tell you must change it. I can be passionate about why I think this, but I just don't understand it. And then what they were talking about on KG's channel is that basically, could you imagine, because we have to play Arsenal second to last game of the season, that's our last home game, we might have to give them a guard of honor. Oh, that would be unbearable.
That's our fault then. Yeah.
So well, no, because they're saying that they could win the league with nothing to do with us, and they have to give them a guard of honor before the game's even played.
In that situation,
it's not the same.
And in that situation, right? If the roles were reversed and it was give Liverpool a guard of honor, give City a guard of honor, can you imagine? If I had to give a guard of honor,
no, but they're saying because it's the last second to last.
Well, I know because of the schedule, but who gives a shit with that?
But also, Arsenal aren't going to do that. Like City. Now, let me start talking about something that doesn't even really happen. Like City, when's it gone down to the last day? It didn't do that last season. This is
that's the wild thing about it. So with the guard of honor thing, this is what we're really saying here. Yeah. This is when you have to separate your own sort of ego from what's best for the club, right? You wouldn't want to give us. You'd want your biggest rivals, Liverpool and Man City. You'd rather them not win the league because you'd be a bit embarrassed that we'd have to give Arsenal, a club that's got no connection to us.
Exactly.
Really, because you'd be embarrassed. Oh, my mates would kill me. Well, I'd rather my mates had a bit of bragging than my biggest rivals usurp our records or get closer to our records, because that will stick longer.
Really, Arsenal fans.
That's when you have to put yourself as a fan and go like, that's me. The club is bigger. The collective is bigger than just me.
Arsenal fans should just be saying, they should be celebrating in Liverpool's face, in Man City's face, because listen, to topple this Man City team to the title is massive, but then again, they don't have that many fans. I get that, so they're not, they're going to bask in glory against. Laugh at Tottenham fans they don't win it. Like if you come to United fans, say, we won the league and you didn't. All right, cool. It's about. I tell you what, it's about time you did, because you've been knocking on the door. You bottled it last year, and well done, you did it. Like it's been. When's the last time they won the league? 2004, bro. 20 years ago.
And also,
is that 20 years ago? It's 20 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, and also
they won the league in 20 years.
Are we going just because it's Arsenal? So if it was when it was Chelsea, we didn't really care, but because it's Arsenal, if anything, we've had more rivalries with Chelsea more recently than we have Arsenal.
Exactly.
For several years.
The Arsenal thing's been pathetic. It's just who gets top four or not.
It was a few years in the late 90s, early 2000s. We've had back and forth with Mourinho, with Ancelotti, with Adam Grant, with loads of people at Chelsea over the years. But we could care less about that, right? Some of the biggest
mid-offs has been with Arsenal. Some of the biggest mid-offs. Oh, we finished higher than you this year. One finished bloody second, one finished fifth. Or you got back-to-back eighth while we finished third, or we finished this or that. Like, in the end, it don't matter. In their post, they've won one trophy post Wenger. When did he leave?
They won
2017.
Yeah, then it was Arteta's FA Cup. Is that all they've got?
Yeah, that's what they've got. So, but their trade-off is now they have belief because they've got a good team now and they believe in Arteta and they're knocking on the door. They still haven't won anything significant. Yeah, the FA Cup counts, but even Arsenal fans say, like, we've won that the most out of it. We're now onto the big boy trophies now. Like, if Arsenal only won an FA Cup today, this year, and finished 4th, they would be a bit like...
And to be honest, Flex, and this is, I guess, the indictment of where Manchester United are, because the fact that we have to have the conversation of which team would you rather win, because we can't. It's just so shit. And this is why, to circle it back to Dan Ashworth, that's why these kind of hires are so important, because we've got a lot of ground to make up.
Joe Blackman says, you two are acting like the Arsenal rivalry doesn't exist. Listen, here's my thing on the Arsenal rivalry. I agree, yeah. I wind them up all the time. Yeah, we all know Arsenal fans. They're the most loudest, most contradictory, insecure, funny fan base. Yeah, and the funny thing is they think that about us. Yeah, but let me be real. The rivalry of Man United and Arsenal, yes, the reason why there is a rivalry is because of that period of time when it was Fergie, Wenger, and we used to go for a couple of titles. Which, let's be honest, we beat them hands down to more trophies in that period. I think they won. How many did Wenger win? 2?
But even that, like,
it's not deep.
It's not pretending that it doesn't exist, but it's saying, comparing that to the rivalry between Manchester United and Liverpool, or the local Manchester derby between City and United, is like comparing a kitten to a lion. It's
but
just,
especially now, Owen,
insignificant.
Especially now when both of the teams have been shit, the rivalry's been hyped up because of social media, if anything, not because of the actual.
And again, we're talking a slither in time. When you're talking about, because people are going, yeah, but you're forgetting that, like, in the 90s or early 2000s. Okay, but then when you talk about Liverpool and United, you're talking like over 100 years. Say with Manchester United and Man City. I mean, since day dot, it's been that. And that's when you talk about the history of the club is bigger than a slither in time in a period in which we grew up in. So it has more significance to us. To me,
the 0-2 title, forgot that one.
To me, again, the most significant rivalries are Liverpool, City, and then, I mean, the Leeds ones dropped off because Leeds have just been rubbish for a long period of time.
As soon as they're back in the thing, I tell you that it's Leeds.
If they were, you go to a Leeds United game, right?
Man United hate Leeds more than Arsenal.
Yeah,
I've been there, and I've been in some sticky situations there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's when I talk. So it's not ignoring that a rivalry doesn't exist. It's not going, these clubs are fine between each other. It doesn't matter. Of course, there has been, but again, if you're really comparing sort of small time stuff to big time stuff, and we're talking history, legacy, DNA of the football club to sort of personal pride and ego. And that's when you have to go put your personal pride and ego to one side and go, I know that I don't like, Arsenal fans because I'm around them that much. And that'll be bad for me. But what's bad for the club? And what's bad for the club is your biggest
your city is
rivals.
Blue. Your city is blue every flipping week.
Yeah. Or having Sir Alex Ferguson come in and go, I'm going to knock Arsenal off their perch. No, he didn't. He said Liverpool. He said, I'm going to knock Liverpool off their perch. And he did. And if Liverpool knock us back off our perch, that's embarrassing to us. Arsenal winning a title, what does that do to our legacy, to our history? It does F all to Man United's legacy or history. It just makes us feel a little bit bad because we know some Arsenal fans that'll be a bit loud for a while. Who cares?
Yeah. Tracy says, big up Flex and Owen. Love the content. Makes for good evening viewing in Australia. Oh, yeah. Shout out the evening crew. You're watching in Oz. Tavares says, I'm from Manchester. Anyone to win but Liverpool. Dan says, big up to all the UV crew. Never get to watch live. I see both sides in regards to Arsenal winning the league. Arsenal fans are the worst, but I can't deal with Liverpool or City. Ash Odu, been a member for 19 months. I want to talk about this. Says, why is Arsenal winning and Man United not? Embarrassing. If Arsenal doing well, so should we. At least with City, we see the squad, the manager / the ownership. I think Ash Odu, you're looking at from the wrong point of view, or maybe not giving Arsenal as much credit as they deserve, because the reason why Arsenal are doing good, we're not. We think we should be better than Arsenal, is what you're saying. If Arsenal can compete for the league, so should Man United. You're basically saying, but City are like light years ahead because of like the squad they got, the manager, etc., etc. But actually, Arsenal are a good example of what happens if you do things right. Like they've bought the right players, they've bought the right manager. Above that, they've restructured with Josh Kroenke and Edu and all of the people that they needed to do, and they operate like a big football club. Now, yes, they're yet to get the big trophy to show for it, but they are now competing for titles. They competed for the title last year, bottled it, yes, but they competed for the title last year. They've proved this year that that wasn't a fluke and that they can compete again. We'll see what happens, but it's February and they are a couple of points off top. So they are competing for it. So I don't think we should look at Arsenal with that sort of like a snide, like a snigger to them and be like, you know, well, if they're challenging, so should we. It's City are the ones who, because we have to challenge. We have to do the things that we're starting to do now,
Like I said,
which is what Arsenal did probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, the bigger conversation is the fact that we have to have the conversation about who we would rather win, and it involves two of our biggest rivals, is an indictment as to where Manchester United are. We've got to hope that some of these changes that we're putting in place, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, can help bridge that gap. But the analogy I used last night with KG is that Man United, so they've done nothing for a decade. If you're someone that used to be in really, really good shape, had a great physique, and then you do 10 years of eating McDonald's, KFC, and Burger King, you're going to look like shit. And if you decide to go on a diet, day one, day two, you're not going to look that much better. You know, it's going to take a while. And that's what it's going to be of United. You've got to put those pieces in place. You've got to get the nutritionist. You've got to get the personal trainer. You've got to get the equipment. You've got to get the plan and all this kind of stuff. And that's what United have got to do to try and bridge that gap. Not going to be easy. And whilst we're doing that, we've got to have these conversations, which suck. These conversations
and also,
are horrible.
What people aren't realizing is, right, it's the catalyst and the knock-on effect, right? If City win the league because nobody cares, right, there's a big likeliness that they win the treble. Is everyone like deep in that? And KG said it's our job to stop them. Yeah, look what happened last time. They've done a treble in our face. And the same thing can happen. Or we're going to ask Liverpool to stop them in the FA Cup. They're favourites for the FA Cup, rightly so. They're favourites for the Champions League, rightly so. And they're favourites for the Premier League, rightly so.
And also, again, like that thing of like, yeah, but it'll be taken away. But it still happened.
Give a shit, man.
It still happened. Like, we all lived through it, you know. It still was a thing. We can't... just because the rule book it's scratched out of, what do we then do? Like Will Smith settings, erase it from our memories. It never happened.
Do you know how crazy that is? Yeah, to do two. They're going to make doing trebles look normal. First of all, we thought no one's ever going to do a treble. Then they done a treble and they did it on our watch. And we are lying. We could have stopped them. Yeah,
and we are lying to ourselves, right? That is pure copium. If we're lying to ourselves, if we go, oh, we don't care, 115 chances because it's bullshit. We do care. We just don't want to admit it.
Exactly.
Right? That's
and then
the truth.
We've done 3 in a row. Now they've done 3 in a row. Now they're about to do something we've never done again. 4 in a row. And you can say, yeah, it's because they're cheats. Yeah, it's because 115. But or no fans were there to see them do it. Whatever cuss you want to throw at City. The fact is, I'm still embarrassed that that's happening. I'm embarrassed because City have come from nowhere and been, in Ty's words, absolutely nobody's. And look how embarrassing it is for Man United. It's basically like Tottenham going and doing it. It's like Tottenham getting money, yeah? And now all of a sudden they're winning Champions League, something Arsenal have never done before. I know it's a bit different for us because we've got history in that competition and won it, right? It's like Tottenham winning trebles, Tottenham winning 4 in a row, and Arsenal just go, yeah, but you know, it's not really real because Tottenham always used to be shit, and it's only because they got bought, they got money.
Yeah, and
that's the new version of them.
Even if Spurs had the 115 charges and they were going 115 charges, again, we use that as an out. We do use that as an out, and we go, see, it's not really the same. Like with Liverpool when they won the league, we go,
Everton just got good.
But Liverpool, we do the same when they won the title, don't we? Go, yeah, COVID title though. Who gives a shit? You know, we do that. It still hurts. That is compartmentalizing in our psyche because if we think about it too much, it hurts. And we have to have an excuse for it. The real situation is that Man United have dropped off and we need to try and find a way back. Now, as I mentioned, I think that City will get done for it somehow, some way. I don't know how severe it's going to be. I don't know if they get stripped. I don't know if they get relegated. I don't know. But I do think something sticks for them. But it still happened. I still put it on my screen. I still saw it. So I remember doing a stream straight afterwards. That was still a thing. We still
go into every single Premier League season when we say the flipping German league's the Farmers League, and we go into every Premier League season and say who's the favourites for the league. We say Manchester City. And the last 3 seasons in a row, it's been Manchester City. And this season, it looks like it's going to be Manchester City again. Yeah, let's just keep them being so dominant, but just lean back on the thing, but nobody cares though. What? Honestly, I don't get it. I don't get it. But listen, it's all about opinion, and this is why it's great.
D-Man
Star-Lord's been a member. Go on.
So, D-Man says here, so if someone cheats on a test and gets more than you, does that make the person's test valid? No, but if they then had like a podium and that person was standing on the top and you weren't standing on the podium and you had to live that trauma just because someone goes, oh yeah, actually found out they cheated, they didn't win. Does it make you feel better for not standing on the podium? You still have those memories of standing in that crowd crying, going,
we haven't finished second every year and it's all our titles.
You know what I mean? You still have that, as I said, that trauma of sitting there being like, oh, that moment. You can't get that moment back. It happened. You know, just because it's wiped away doesn't mean it didn't exist. And you can feel better because of it. And it would make us feel better, certainly. But it doesn't change what actually happened as well.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you find a way for it to feel better for you, you are doing that out of sort of denial because you don't want to admit how shit you was. And no disrespect, obviously, we're just talking about the test. But in football terms, we've been awful. They've dominated. They've come to our ground and destroyed us. We've gone to their ground and they've destroyed us. They've won everything there is to win. They're clocking the level time and time again. But we should just keep going. That's just small City there. No, Liverpool fans wouldn't do that if it was Everton. Arsenal fans wouldn't do that if it was just small Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? Newcastle fans wouldn't do it if it was just small Sunderland. Even though it's not technically the same city. Do you get that? Like, there has to be a point where you turn and go, the people who are logistically from where our club's from, and I get it. I wasn't born and raised in Manchester. I don't live in Manchester. So it's easier for me to detach myself. But as a Manchester United fan, when I buy into the DNA of what Manchester United is as a football club, first and foremost, it's that and the rivalries that go with it. So being a Manchester United fan, whether you like it or not, you're signing up to hate Leeds, you're signing up to hate Liverpool. And no matter how irrelevant City have been in the past time, you're signing up to hate them as well. When Man City were playing at Main Road and weren't even a threat to Man United, the hatred was still there.
Yeah, when like, Sean Goater scores and they win, was it 3-1 at Main Road?
Yeah.
You know, that hurt because it's the local rivals. That's what it is, you know. That's just, like I said, that's the DNA of the club. That's the fabric of the club. And like I said, I totally get it in terms of where you're from and people that you know, but then you also have to, I don't know, sometimes if you're not from like a local fan or whatever, you have to sort of buy in even more, you know, to the fabric and the DNA to really understand it, you know. Yeah, but I get people going to have different opinions on it, but
yeah, exactly. United says pointless debate because Owen is just flexes echo chamber these days. Like, it's not our fault. It's not our fault that we just both agree. Like, how about we just both agree, bro?
Well, this is the thing. This is the thing. Well, and also as well, this is the thing. So that's when you get into the territory of put someone in the chat has a different point of view to you. And because we don't share the same opinion, me and the person in the chat is, then I tell you what, Flex, we're bought and paid for. It's United PR. It's because you're in the press conferences. It's because of all that kind of stuff. You know, heaven forbid you have a contrasting opinion. I'm saying the one that you have in the chat, that's totally valid. I'll disagree. I've said why I disagree. You used an analogy. I gave one back to you, and I'm deluded and don't have brain cells. So that's probably why I've been hit over the head too many times.
He said, no, it's the fact that you guys haven't disagreed on anything for about 6 months. Yes, we have. We disagreed. Yes, we have.
Mason Mount. Remember that
Mount.
every time it gets brought up.
And he's saying, nah, Flex, no, just not. And I'm saying, yes, he's going to be okay. He's going to be good. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. There was something else we disagreed on as well.
I appreciate him for keeping track, though. That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
You know,
that is good. That is good. That is good. Star-Lord, I've been a member for 20 months as well. Big up to you.
Look at that. The original.
Yes, the original. It's been a pleasure. Big up, UV fam. And on that note, we will finish the video. We didn't quite get to 500 likes. We've got 411, but I challenge you to get to at least 450 on the way out. I think we could even get to 500 on the way out. I believe in you guys. It's been a good show. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Remember, the video is brought to you by Cracks Only. Link is in the video description below to get your Cracks Only gear. Shout out to everybody in the chat who's been getting involved. Very, very active chat today. That's exactly how we like it. Exactly how we want it.
United said, "God, the fact you responded to my comment says it all." So why are you even responding to me? Damn it! Don't talk to me. I'm just here screaming at the world. Don't talk to me. I don't.
The poll as well is 62% saying Arsenal to win the league, 27% are saying City to win the league, and 11% are saying Liverpool to win the league. So there you go. We're getting near to 450 likes on the way out the door as well. And remember, KG, I believe, is live at 10:30. So go check out his show and give him a load of abuse and tell him he's a disgrace and a cheat from me.
Yeah. Oh, we're good friends now. He came on the show yesterday. You know, there's no heat, there's no beef or anything like that. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. Silly Goose says he's a wind-up merchant. Does this on all fan channels. Okay, fair play, United. Fair play, fair play. Thank you for your interaction, bro. Have a good day. We're out of here. Take care. Yes, exactly. And then.